Well, hello and welcome to this iGCSE Algebra Investigation. Now, this is an unusual question, but nevertheless, it's quite interesting. And it says consecutive integers are set out in rows in a grid. So the word consecutive is important here. That word is very important. Okay, are set out in rows in a grid, and we've got this. The grid has 5 columns in this case. Okay, and we got this picture here with 5 squares with 13 in the middle. So this is the n is equal to 13 shape there. So this is the n is equal to 13 shape. So we've got A, B, C, and D. So A will be 7, B is 9, C is 17, and D is 19. Okay, and n in the center is going to be 13. So this is the n13 shape there. And it says the shape drawn encloses 5 numbers 7, 9, 13, 17, and 19. This is the n is equal to 13 shape. It then says calculate BC minus AD for the n is equal to 13 shape. BC will be this, okay, and AD will be this one here and that one there. Right. So we now got 9 times 17, which is BC, minus 7 times 19, which is AD, and we get the value 20 there. Right, it then says for the 5-column grid, A is equal to n minus 6, which will give us 7. Okay, and then we want to find B, C, and D in terms of n. Okay, we want to find B, C, and D in terms of n. Right, so now we got that B is equal to n minus 4, because 13 minus 9 will give us 4, and C is n plus 4, because 13 plus 4 will give us 17, and D is n plus 6, because 13 plus 6 will give us 19. Right, is it write down BC AD in terms of n, show clearly that it simplifies to 20. Right, so we do BC minus AD. Now B we know is n minus 4 in this case there, and C we know is n plus 4 minus, okay, AD, and A we know is n minus 6, because that's 7 there, and then 19 is n plus 6, that's D there. So now we've got difference of 2 squares there. So n minus 4 into n plus 4 give us n squared minus 4 squared. And n minus 6 times n plus 6 will give us n squared minus 6 squared. And when you open up the brackets, the n squares will cancel out. You end up with 6 squared minus 4 squared. And 6 squared is 36, 4 squared is 16. 36 minus 16 will give us 20. That's squared. Okay, moving on. It says this grid has 6 columns. The shape is drawn for n is equal to 10, so 10 is going to be in the middle. So that's what it is there. That's what we got. So that's n is equal to 10, because 10 is in the middle there. And it says calculate the value of BC minus AD for n is equal to 10. Okay, so we're going to do n minus 5, because B in this case is 5. Okay, and 10 minus 5 will give us 5, times n plus 5, because 10 plus 5 will give us 15, which is that one there. So we've now got BC minus AD. A is n minus 7, and D is n plus 7 there. So n squared, we then have difference of 2 squares again. So we end up with n squared minus 5 squared minus n squared minus 7 squared. When you open up your brackets, the n squares will cancel out. So you end up with 7 squared minus 5 squared. That's 49 minus 25. I end up with 24. So for a grid that has 6 columns, BC minus AD gives us a value of 24. Does that make sense? Right. And it says, without simplifying, write down BC minus AD in terms of n for this grade. Without simplifying. Okay, that's what we've already done there. But let's see. Now, we then end up with n squared minus 5 squared minus n squared plus 7 squared without simplifying. Now, that's what's required. Yeah, because when you open the brackets, that will change that to plus there. So that's what's required. That's our answer there. Okay, now next slide. In this case here, we have a 7-column set of consecutive integers here, and our shape will be shape n is equal to 17. So that's what you got there. And it then says, oops, that's our 9, just to check, that's our 9 there, and that's our 11, and that should be our 23 next, and this one should be our 25 next there. So that will be our n is equal to 17 shape there. And as usual, we're supposed to find, show clearly that BC minus A is equal to 28 for the n equal to 17 shape there. Okay, so BC is going to be 11 times 23 minus 9 times 25, or 25 times 9, you get 28. Okay, you can also get the same result by finding the difference between n and d there. The difference between n and d is 8, so you square 8, 8 squared. And the difference between 17 and 11 is 6 there, so you square 6. So to get to 24, you can get the same answer by doing 8 squared minus 6 squared. And that's what you call that. 8 squared minus 6 squared gives us 28. Okay. Okay. Write down the value of BC minus AD where there are T columns in the grid. Now, this time around, the number of columns is T there. Okay, now to begin with, for 5 columns, BC minus AD is 20. And if you divide 20 by 5, you get 4. So 5 times 4 will give you 20. Similarly, for 6 columns, BC minus AD is 24 because 6 times 4 is 24. For 7 columns, BC minus AD is 28 and 7 times 4 is 28. So for T columns, it seems that for T columns, the difference between BC and AD is going to be 4 times T. And that's what we call that. It's required. Okay. Now, find the values of CD and BC minus AD for this shape here. Okay, that's a shape there. So we know AB, we don't know C and D. Okay, right. Now, if you have a look at this one here for the n is equal to 17, you just done there. Immediately below 17, we got 24, and you get 24 by saying 17 plus 7 will be 24 there. Yeah, which means that in here we got 16 plus t. And because we're dealing with consecutive numbers, that's going to be 1 less. So that will be 16 plus t minus 1. That should be 16 plus t plus 1. So this one here will be 16 plus t minus 1. That's 16 plus t. And that's 16 plus t plus 1 there. Okay, so we now have to find CD, BC minus AD for this shape there. Right, now BC is 4 times 16 plus t minus 1, and that's what we got there. Minus 2 times 16 plus t plus 1, that's what we got there. And because we've got t columns there, the answer should be 4t. Okay, now 16 plus t minus 1 will give us 15 plus t, and 16 plus t plus 1 will give us 17 plus t. So we end up with 4 times 15 plus t minus 2 times 17 plus t. Okay, open up our brackets, and that's equal to 4t. Open up our brackets. We have 60 plus 4t minus 34 minus 2t is equal to 4t. The 4t's cancel out. We then end up with 26 minus 2t. And then if you then add 2t to both sides, we end up with this one here. On the left hand side, the 2t's cancel out. So we now left with 26 is equal to 2t, which means that t is equal to 13. Okay, which that means that c will be 16 plus 13 minus 1, and that's 28. And if that's 28, d has got to be 30. Now let's check. D is 17 plus 13 plus 1, and that gives us 30. Okay, so BC minus AD is going to be BC minus AD will be equal to 4t. Okay, and 4t is 4 times 13 because t is 13, and the answer is 52. Now I hope all that made some sense. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching, and hopefully see you again sometime. Bye bye.